Britain has new Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, former mayor of Manchester, nicknamed the King of the North. He walked into Buckingham Palace today and was invited by King Charles to form a new government. He is the 7th Prime Minister this country has had in just 10 years. 7. In 10 years. And every single Nigerian, every African, every diaspora person living in this country right now is asking the same question. What does this mean for us? Today, I am going to give you the honest answer, not the political spin, not the press release, the real answer, based on what we know, what we have seen, and what the evidence actually tells us. Stay with me, because that is Wetin Dey Happen. Now, I'll first tell you who this man actually is, because the name Andy Burnham may not mean much to you if you have not been following British politics closely. Andy Burnham is a 56-year-old, nicknamed the King of the North, and left Westminster nearly a decade ago to become mayor of Greater Manchester, only returning to Parliament weeks ago before securing the Labour leadership. Born in a suburb of Liverpool to parents who worked as a telephone engineer and a receptionist, Burnham was raised in a working-class background, a detail that matters because his politics have been shaped by England's north-south class divide. He is not a career politician in the traditional Westminster's mold. He spent years running a city, Manchester, that has one of the largest and most established Nigerian and African communities outside London. He knows what a diverse, working-class, immigrant-descended population looks like because he governed one. He has promised to restore hope to the country and fight off challenges from the populist and far-right Reform UK. That last point matters enormously for our community because Reform UK, Nigel Farage's party, is the organization that proposed banning visas for citizens of countries seeking reparations from Britain. The organization that has consistently pushed for harder immigration enforcement, faster deportations, and fewer rights for people like us. Burnham defeating Reform UK is not just a political contest. For the diaspora, it is personal. Now, let me talk about the cabinet. Because the names Burnham has chosen tells you more about the direction of this government than any speech outside of number 10 ever could. John Healey becomes Chancellor of the Exchequer, the man who controls the money. Ed Miliband, a familiar face, goes to the Foreign Office, which means he will be managing Britain's relationship with Nigeria, with Africa, with the world. Angela Rayner takes housing, that is relevant to every diaspora family struggling with rent and property in the country. And Miatta Fahnbulleh, a woman of Sierra Leonean heritage, becomes Secretary of State for Energy. That appointment alone deserves acknowledgement. She is one of the most senior black women ever to serve in the British cabinet. But here is the appointment that matters most for this community. Shabana Mahmood remains as Home Secretary. Let me say that again, clearly. The same Shabana Mahmood who as Home Secretary under Keir Starmer, signed the deportation deal with Nigeria, making it faster and easier to remove Nigerians from this country. That same Shabana Mahmood is staying in the post under Andy Burnham. Now, Burnham chose her deliberately. He kept her in the most powerful immigration role in government, which means one of two things. Either he agrees with the direction she has been taking on immigration, or he intends to give her new direction from the top. We do not know which yet, but at least we know this. The person with the keys to the immigration system is unchanged. And that means the diaspora cannot afford to assume that a change of prime minister means a change of immigration policy. Not yet. Not without evidence. So, given what we now know about this cabinet, here is what I will be watching and what you should be watching too. First, what instruction did Burnham give Mahmood on immigration? Mahmood stays, but who she takes her direction from has changed. Burnham has positioned himself as someone who wants to make politics less toxic and restore hope. If he means that for the diaspora, the first signal will be whether Mahmoud's posture on deportation and visa policy shifts in the next 90 days. Watch for any new Home Office statements on the Nigeria deportation deal specifically. Second, Ed Miliband at the Foreign Office. Miliband is one of the most internationally minded politicians in British public life. His appointment to the Foreign Office is significant for UK-Africa relations. Under Starmer, the Foreign Office was largely absent from the conversation about how Britain treats African citizens at its borders. Miliband has the profile and the conviction to change that dynamic. Watch what he does with the UK-Nigeria bilateral relationship in his first 60 days. Third, Miatta Fahnbulleh. She is of Sierra Leonean heritage. She is now a cabinet secretary of state. That is not a small thing. Representation at that level matters. Not because her background automatically means she will champion diaspora causes, but because her presence in that room changes what gets said in that room. Watch her. She could become one of the most important voices for the African diaspora inside this government. Fourth, Angela Rayner on housing. If you are a Nigerian or African family in this country struggling with housing costs, rent, or trying to get on the property ladder, Rayner's housing agenda is directly relevant to your life. She has promised the biggest house building program in a generation. Whether that delivers for the diaspora communities or primarily benefits those already on housing lists will be worth watching closely. And fifth, the cost of living measures Burnham promised to announce as early as tomorrow. He said he will give people some breathing space now. For the diaspora, breathing space on energy bills, on food costs, on rent, that is not abstract politics. That is whether you can afford to send money home this month. Watch what he announces tomorrow and whether it reaches the communities that need it most. Here is what I actually think about everything I've just told you. Andy Burnham walked into number 10 today with genuine energy and genuine promises. No lectern, no notes, no auto cue. He spoke from the heart about hope, about circuit breakers, about the biggest changes in 40 years. I want to believe him. I genuinely do. But Shabana Mahmood is still the Home Secretary. The deportation deal she signed is still in force. The care worker visa route she closed is still closed. The 38% rejection rate on Nigerian visitor visas is still the reality as at this morning. What's outside number 10 do not change those facts. Action inside the Home Office will. Burnham has said he wants to be different from his predecessors. The diaspora is watching. We are watching for the evidence of that difference. Not in speeches, but in policy. Not in appointments or familiar faces, but in the instructions those faces receive. 7 prime ministers in 10 years. 7 sets of promises. 7 first speeches full of hope and circuit breakers and new beginnings. We've learned the hard way to watch what governments do, not what they say on day one. 7 prime ministers in 10 years is not a coincidence. It is a symptom. Britain is a country that is struggling with its identity, its place in the world after Brexit, its relationship with its own diversity, and an economic model that stopped working for ordinary people a long time ago. In this acceptance speech that Andy Burnham made, he pledged to give people hope back and challenge a political culture and economic model he said simply doesn't work well enough for ordinary people. Those are the right words. I will give him that. But words are easy. Every prime minister who has walked through that door in the last 10 years had words. What they struggled with was courage. The courage to make decisions that are right rather than popular. The courage to push back on the narrative that immigration is a problem rather than an asset. The courage to tell the truth about what this country owes to the communities that built it. Burnham has said he wants to be different. The diaspora will be watching whether different means anything in practice. And here is what I want you to understand as a Nigerian, as an African living in this country. Your vote matters. I cannot say or emphasize that enough. Your voice matters. Your economic contribution, the taxes you pay, the services you run, the businesses you build, they all matter. The NHS does not function without you. The care system does not function without you. The economy does not function without you. A new prime minister is a new opportunity, not to celebrate, not to relax, but to engage, to organize, to make sure that the conversations happening in Downing Street about immigration, about diversity, about the future of this country include the perspective of the people who have invested their lives in it. Now we build this country too. It's high time we started acting like we have a say in where it goes. Make I talk am for pidgin. New PM, same country, same challenges. The question no be who dey number 10. The question na wetin we go do with this opportunity to make our voice heard. That na the question wey matter for this point in time. Now, Britain has a new prime minister, and the African diaspora, 270,000 Nigerian-born people in this country alone, part of one of the most educated and economically significant immigrant communities in the world, deserve to be more than an afterthought in what comes next. Watch the appointments, watch the policies, watch what happens to the deportation deal, the visa rules, the care worker route, and hold this government, like every government before it, to account. Drop a comment below. What do you think a Burnham government means for the diaspora? Are you hopeful? Skeptical? Let me hear from you. Share this episode with every Nigerian and African in the UK who needs to understand what just changed. One more thing. The reaction to this episode is going to tell me something, because I want to do something we've never done on Wetin Dey Happen before. If this episode generates the conversation I think it will, I want to bring you a live program, a proper discussion where you can comment in real time, ask questions, and we can break down together what this new government really means for the diaspora. No date yet. That depends on you. Comment below, share this episode, and if the response tells me the community is ready for that conversation, I will announce the date on all platforms. Watch this space. My name remains Samuel. This is Wetin Dey Happen. And that, my friend, is that special thing that is happening on the day new Prime Minister is chosen for UK.